That stupid love, just when I thought that I kicked that habit, you work a little midnight magic, and there I go again, falling back in that stupid love, pulling me in like a boomerang. It's always the same damn thing. Can't get enough, not for that stupid love, 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 love.
Hey Tag Fam! Today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial on 6th and 7th grade. I'm going to put a different video for 8th grade makeup, and then I'll do one for high school makeup. So if you are in the 6th to 7th grade range, maybe even 5th grade if your parents let you wear makeup, this will be quick, easy, and like very minimal, but it just enhances your features. Also, make sure you're following all of our socials. They'll be all over the place, I'm sure, to make sure you're always up to date, because I do a lot of polls on the Tag Family's Instagram. If you want to be involved in them, make sure you're following us and have the post notifications on for our story and when we post, so you don't miss out. So if you guys want to see a drugstore version of this look, just comment down below and let me know. Alright, so I've pulled you guys in a little bit closer, and sorry about the little mirror you're seeing on the side. I'll try to look into the camera as much as possible, but obviously it's a lot easier to do your makeup when you're looking in the mirror versus the camera. I'm pretty much going to do this like chit chat, get ready, and walk you through the steps, and we'll talk about some school stuff, about my experience, and maybe you can relate to some of the things that I went through in my middle school experience. And if you can relate to any of these experiences, just comment down below or let me know what your experience in middle school was like, and let's just chat. I like talking to you guys. So when I was in middle school, I was a big person that slept in and didn't really do makeup every day, but I figured I would do it where it's quick enough so it's not like a whole hour-long process to do your makeup for school, but it also enhances what you want to enhance. So obviously you want to moisturize. I use the Clinique Moisture Surge 72 hours. My skin is dry, so if you are an oily person, I would just stick to, I would still moisturize your face because it is good to have some moisture on your face, but just use like a moisturizer that's good for you. Alright, now that we are all moisturized, we're going to move to the eyes. I always put my moisturizer on first, so that way it has time to sink into my skin before putting like primers and foundation over it. That seems to work best for me. If not, you can completely skip this step. And then for me, eye primers are a big must when wearing makeup. I use the Urban Decay Primer Potion, the just original one. I find that this really helps the shadows just stick on and last a lot longer. If you're gonna be in school from like 6 to 8 hours a day, you want it to last and not get all weird. Okay, so now that I've primed my eye, I'm going to do my eyebrows, and I just use the Anastasia in medium brown. You guys can just find an eyeshadow that's the similar color to your hair on your eyebrow, and it does the same thing. Also, don't feel the need that you have to fill in your eyebrows. If you have a really good shape, I wouldn't do much to them, but just gel them down. I'm really thin in the front of my eyebrow, so I like to fill it in a little bit just to get some definition out of them, but totally optional if you want to fill it in. So I graduated in 2013, which was a long time ago, I know. I went to a middle school where it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade all together. I know some schools do it like that. Some have 6, 7, 8, which is kind of like a normal thing, but mine had 9th grade. I moved going into 9th grade, so I went to high school 9th through 12th, but I did 7th and 8th grade in middle school, so I didn't get 3 full years of middle school. I would say middle school is probably my better school experience, in my opinion. I mean, that might just be because I grew up with like all those people from kindergarten to 7th and 8th grade. I feel like that kind of contributed to my experience. And then you're gonna set your eyebrows so they don't budge and move all on you. I would say in middle school, the biggest thing was the cliques. That was a little hard to adjust to because I was the type of person where I wasn't in like a certain group. Like I was in a bunch of different groups and I had friends in multiple different groups. I don't think you should mold to fit into a clique. I think you should just be nice to everybody because that's just what people are gonna remember you by. Just remember to always be really nice to everyone and very genuine. Because if you think about it, you're gonna remember the person that was like really kind and nice to you. So as long as you're kind, genuine, and just be nice and yourself, people are gonna remember you, and it just kind of makes the middle school experience a little bit easier. Now that my eyebrows are on, I'm gonna be using the Tarte and Aspen Ovard palette. I feel like these colors in here are just very pretty and pretty neutral for school. I'm gonna take a mix of Brilliance and Married Life and put that right under the eyebrow. On a fluffy brush, I use the Morphe M433. Morphe is like really inexpensive and the brushes are pretty good, so I recommend Morphe. We're going to dip into the Santorini Sands and just buff that from the crease to the lid just to get a nice base down so the other eyeshadows have something to blend into. Now taking a Morphe M441, I'm going to be dipping into High School Sweetheart, which is a little bit darker of a shade, and I'm just going to focus that really lightly into the crease just to give us some light definition. Making sure I'm putting all of my product in the crease so that way I'm blending it up and blending it a little bit onto the lid, just to give it that diffused look. So for middle school, I know it's like a good taste of what you'll get in high school, but it's not the full experience of like what you're gonna get in high school. If you're a girl, drama's gonna happen. That's just what girls at that age do. Middle school was a lot of drama with girls because for me, our middle school combined it with a bunch of different elementary schools. So the people that you normally hung out with in your like smaller elementary school, there's a bigger pool of people now, and obviously you're not gonna have all your classes with your friends anymore. And you make new friends and they make new friends, but I know it was hard when your like best friends would be like not wanting to hang out as much and all that stuff. That was really hard for me, I remember growing up. But I would say to try to stay out of the drama as much as you possibly can. And I can only imagine how ruthless girls are now, especially with social media being a really big thing. Like when I was in middle school, Instagram wasn't a thing yet. Pretty sure Instagram came out when I was in maybe 9th or 10th grade. But yeah, there was no social media like that. It was a lot of texting and MySpace, which I'm sure not a lot of you even know what MySpace is, or maybe you do, I have no idea. Just stay out of the drama as much as you possibly can. That is my best advice. Just worry about yourself and your grades and being a good person, and you'll be just fine. So now that we are all blended out, and I just kept going back and forth, adding, blending it out, adding, blending it out. So now that we have a diffused crease, but it has a little bit of definition now, we can go on to the lid. I like to take Santorini Sands and Brilliance, and I like to mix both of them and put them on my lid. I'm just using a Morphe M124. So it's like a little flat shader brush, and I'm just packing that on my lid. And then just take your blending brush again and just go over those edges to make sure it's a seamless blend. So I'm I'm going back in with Brilliance and I'm just putting that in my inner corner, just to make our eyes pop and seem a little bit more awake, even though we probably stayed up way too late on our phones, on Instagram or on YouTube, just scrolling and not going to sleep. So we need to fake it like we had a great 8 hours of sleep. And on the topic of sleep, sleep is so important and it will affect how you are academically. So make sure you get a really good night's sleep and have a good breakfast in the morning, because that'll help you out a lot in middle school. Especially, I remember in middle school we had this obscene amount of homework, which was so ridiculous. I don't know if it's like that now, but girl, that homework was all the time, like 10 pages per subject, and it was just not fun. I'm going to move on to mascara, and I use the Lash Paradise by L'Oreal. Now, if you want to do eyeliner, I would suggest a brown eyeliner, and if you want to do a wing, do it the same, but I would suggest doing a brown eyeliner because I think that looks a little bit better for middle school, especially when you're in like the 6th to 7th grade range. So if you want to do liner, go for it, but I'm just going to put on mascara today. And I really like this mascara just because I have really long eyelashes, but a lot of my thick ones are a lot shorter. If that makes any sense. So I like this one because it makes sure it grabs every little lash and makes you look like you have a lot of volume. And just make sure you're really getting into the root of your eyelash. That way it's a more seamless blend. Alright, mascara is on, and if you do get close to the root, you will sometimes hit your eye just like this and the side of your nose. That always happens to me. That's why I do my eyes first, so I can take a makeup wipe on my face and just remove the mascara. And then for the lid, I either like to do a spoolie method, or if you can't get it all off with the spoolie, what I like to do is just go back in with my blending brush and only take a little baby amount of the eyeshadow that you use and just blend right over it. So now I'm gonna zoom you back out a little bit and we're gonna move on to the face. Since we moisturized before, it should be nice and dry now. So we're gonna move into priming. So because you're in middle school, you obviously wanna have your nice glow of your skin. So because I'm older, I kind of have to mimic that. And because I have drier skin, my skin just soaks in moisture and then it's just like dry as the Sahara Desert later on in the day. So for my primers, I like to use the Becca First Light Priming Filter, and I use the purple one. I take a pump onto the back of my hand. I just dot that all over my face, and then I just rub it in as normal. And when you are rubbing your face, make sure you are rubbing in circles outwards towards your ears, because your blood flows in your face out like this and it reduces the puffiness. If you rubbed in this way, you would be rubbing against your flow of blood, and that causes a lot of puffiness, which you're already going to be puffy if you just woke up. So make sure you're rubbing out towards your ears. Now I'm going to take Benefit's High Beam and I'm going to place that in any of the spots that I would normally highlight. So the cheekbones, the nose, a little bit on the forehead, Cupid's bow, cute pimple, I know, we're gonna cover that up. So it's a good thing that I'm doing this now because I have a pimple, so I can show you how to cover yours. And again, just pat it out with your finger. Or what I also like to do is take my sponge and just buff it out that way. And yeah, just get to bouncing. Alright, so now that we are looking shiny as the Tin Man, we're going to move on to foundation. I have two suggestions. I am a huge Clinique fan. Even as a 23-year-old, I don't like full coverage, and that's saying a lot because I do makeup as like one of my jobs. But I guess it's because I am a drier skinned person. I don't really like the look of a full coverage foundation on me just because it dries and weird. I love the Clinique Super Balance makeup. It's the one in the glass, and this one I'm pretty sure is $20 to $23, but this lasts me a really long time. The only bad thing is it doesn't have a pump, so that's a little kind of crappy, and I would be using this one, but I only have this one and then my really pale shade because we just came back from vacation. If you haven't seen the Tag Family vacation vlog, click here and make sure you go watch that right after this video. But this is too dark for me because this is my self-tan shade. So I picked up the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I know a lot of YouTubers really like this one. This one is a medium to full coverage, but we're not going to use a lot of it, so it's not going to be a full coverage foundation. So what I'm going to do is pump one pump on the back of my hand, and I'm going to take a little concealer brush. This is the Morphe G15, and I'm just going to take a little bit of the product and put it where I'm really red on my face, because we just want to even out our skin tone. We don't want to hide our skin.
God is a woman. God is a woman, yeah.
Alright, so I haven't even used all of it on my hand yet. I still have like half of the pump left, and this is pretty good for right now. I'm going to take my sponge and just bounce that out. So now that we are all blended out, the lighting is a little weird in here, so it does kind of look like I'm still red in some certain spots, but I promise it's not like that. So if you see you still need a little bit more coverage on like a pimple or something like that, you just take whatever is left on your hand and just go over that. I have a little bit of redness here. I want to cover a little bit more on that pimple right there and the tip of my nose. And we'll do the other side where my cheek is. And it's key to get a really good match of your foundation. I know Sephora does their matching technique or whatever the heck they use. I don't really shop in store, I always shop online. The only makeup store I'll go into is Ulta. Don't know if Ulta does shade matching, but I'm sure if you asked one of them, they could definitely help you out. It's just a lot of going inside, back outside, inside, back outside. That's what I did to find my good shade. So just make sure you have a really nice shade match and you should be fine. And now I do have a little bit left, so I'm going to bounce my sponge and just blend that down my neck because we don't want to look ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to be doing for foundation. If you didn't get as much sleep, I would put maybe a little bit of concealer underneath your eye. But again, we want to make this very natural, like your skin, but better. Now I'm going to take my pressed powder by IT Cosmetics, just their Bye Bye Pores line. I really like the pressed one just because I feel like loose powders, for me being dry skinned, it just doesn't look as nice. Then I'm going to take my IT Cosmetics brush in number 126. It's just a big powder brush. I'm going to take a little bit of that and just set my face so it's not tacky. And again, rub out towards your ears. We don't want to add any more puffiness than what we have. Right now I'm going to take my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. I don't know if this is the lightest shade. I think this may be the medium or the darkest shade. But we're going to take this and a little angled brush. This is the Morphe one. It's from that rose gold collection. We're going to take a small amount of that, tap out the excess, and just lightly brush some bronzer on the cheekbones, forehead, temple area, and under the chin, and a little bit down the sides of the neck, so it's really nice and blended, and it makes you look a lot tanner and a little bit more alive. So we're just going to be doing this so it adds a little bit more life back into your face, and obviously we want to hold on to our summer tans as long as physically possible. So just lightly contour over your cheeks and all that, and just make sure you really blend it really nicely, so that way it's not gonna be clocked that you're wearing a lot of makeup to school. Now with the nose, I know a lot of people like to use like a small little brush or what have you. I'm pretty okay with the shape of my nose and all of that, so I just take a little bit of bronzer and I just lightly go over the sides, a little bit on the tip of the nose, just to make sure you're not forgetting the nose completely, but you're also not going full like James Charles contour on it. If you like to contour your nose like that, by all means go ahead, but for me, I don't really like contouring my nose that much, so I just like to put a little bit there just so it's a little bit more defined, it doesn't look so flat. And we're gonna go back with the powder brush and just blend all that out so it's more seamless and more blended. And by going back over with the powder brush, whatever translucent powder you had left is going to do that veiling effect. Then I'm going to take another Morphe brush from the same rose gold collection. It's probably the powder brush, but I use it for blush. And we're going to take the Tarte blush in Feisty. And the Tarte blushes are super pigmented and they last a really long time, so I love using these. So you only need like 2 or 3 taps into it and tap off the excess, and just hit the apples of your cheeks and bring that flush back to your face. I also like to do a little bit across the nose, especially coming right back from summer break. It's always nice to kind of not fake that you've been on the beach all summer, not in your room on your iPhone with Instagram. So yeah, I like to do a little bit on the nose. Now with highlighter. Highlighter is going to make or break this look. So I would suggest, if you really love highlight and you like to have a blinding highlight, obviously Becca Champagne Pop is a great alternative, but also with the Tarte and Aspen palette, they have a highlight and it's called Pure Soul, and it's a little bit more like Jaclyn Hill's is more like a peachy tone, I think is like the best way I could describe it, whereas this one is more of a light champagne color. My Jaclyn Hill one is completely smashed, so I can't really show you that well, but I'll swatch a little bit of it, or try to, and I'll just show you side by side. Hopefully it'll show up, of the 2 highlights. So as you can see, this one is the Jaclyn Hill one, which is a lot more golden, just all over, more yellow. And this is the Pure Soul from Tarte, which is more of a light white champagne color. So what I'm going to do is take a Luxie brush in the number 522 tapered highlight, and I'm going to mix both of them, making sure that I'm tapping off the excess and lightly brushing that over my cheekbones up to my temple. And the tip of your nose, and a little tiny bit on your chin, and a little bit on your forehead. You don't want to look like you just got done gym class. So, and we're going to do a little bit on the Cupid's bow. Now whatever you have left, I like to brush it underneath my contour just to give it a little bit more brightness. But girl, look at that highlight. And now that we are completely done with the face, I'm going to set it with some all-nighter spray from Urban Decay. And just fan it out. Now, depending on what I'm wearing, I like to stick in the natural range, obviously, but I have a more mauve-y one, and then I have a more peachy one. The mauve one that I use was from the 50 Shades collection from Makeup Forever. Makeup Forever Aqua Rouge waterproof liquid lipstick, and it was the shade 3. Yeah, it's just like a mauve color, a lot more cool tone. And the other ones that I really liked, I used these for cheer when I did All-Star Cheer. We used the red one, obviously, but this is the Revlon Color Stay Overtime Lip Color. Up to 16 hours, and this one is the, I'm not even gonna try to say that word, I'm just gonna pop it up on the screen right here, but it's peach. So I like using these because it lasts a really long time, and you can just throw this in your backpack and just reapply it after you eat, because I noticed after you eat, the oils and everything kind of breaks it up, but other than that, it lasts a long time, and it's not drying or uncomfortable to wear. So what I like to do is take a little bit, and I like to scrape off the excess and just put a small amount and a very thin layer, because these are very buildable. You just have to work a little bit fast because they do dry pretty quick. If you're totally not a lipstick girl, by all means, throw some chapstick on. It does the same thing. And I just top it off with the clear gloss side, because that's what's gonna seal this lip in. Alright, and this is your completed look, and I really enjoy doing more natural looks lately, especially with the summertime and my freckles coming out. I like to show off the freckles, but I would say this look is perfect for middle school, especially 6th to 7th grade. It's very natural, it just enhances already what you have, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so pretty. I just love this look, especially, oh my god, my highlight is like really blinding right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some inspiration for your makeup for when you go to school. If you like these types of videos, I'll make sure I post some makeup tutorials here and there in between the montages and vlogs. And don't forget to follow all of our socials. They're always in the description box down below, so make sure you're following us and have all the post notifications on. For all my little tag family members that are starting middle school or just going into it, or this is your last year of middle school, just remember to have a lot of fun and enjoy all of the moments while you can, because once you're done middle school, you can't really go back. So make sure you're always kind to everyone, super genuine, and just be a really good person. I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.